Welcome to Lost Without Japan, a travel podcast about the life-changing experiences of exploring Japan and those moments we would be lost without. For your listening pleasure, allow me to introduce your very own Kanko Guido, Michael.
For those of you joining us back in this week, it's 2 weeks from when we last recorded. Justin and Nathan are here on the other side of things. We've time traveled, and we are going to continue our day trip talk for Japan's Gyoza capital because it was just too much to contain in one episode. We're having too much fun, and that's where it's at. If you're on Patreon, you got this all together 2 weeks earlier than that. But for everyone else coming back into the show, enjoy the second half of our talk. And dare I say, you have some possible tattoo for me to, look forward to hearing about coming up in our episode. Well, we just went through, and now we're through to activity number 2, which is going to be Nathan's talk here. Something I think a few of us mentioned as well. I'm going to give the points for the last one to Nathan again, Justin, because his location looks like it sold T-shirts, and if I could get a T-shirt for that fine establishment to wear around afterwards, it was very close. You had the edge because of the fine aesthetics, but that T-shirt that sent it over. I apologize, my friend. We'll try again. Try again for dinner, dinner.
Why do I feel like you're buttering me up here? Are you going to ask me for something after this? Are we just, no.
I have it up there for you, my friend. The Oya History Museum Historics Quarry Mine, which I saw, and that looks really cool.
Yeah, so my activity, I'm going to put in air quotes here, is actually a collection of activities because I don't know that any one thing was necessarily going to take all day. And on top of that, there are definitely some seasonal things that I really wanted to touch on. But before I get to those, this is only a short walk from the Oyaji temple that we looked at earlier that was built into the rock. And this is one of the old quarries that they mined this stone from. And so this rock was created from lava and ash that was essentially compressed down and has been used in Japan since the 17th century for everything from tombs, paving stones, even in hotels. It is not used anymore because concrete is cheap and available and comparatively to something like this stone. But it is still used. There is an active quarry still, but not this one. So this one you can walk through it. You can go inside these towering walls that have been chiseled out, and you can see every single block, the chisel for that block that was chiseled out as it was done. It just looks phenomenal. It is open from 9:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., closed on Tuesdays, and obviously maybe be aware of other closures by checking the website. They do have a calendar on there. It is accessible, like I mentioned, very quick, easy, essentially a walk from, I think it's a 10-minute walk from the Oyaji temple. But if you're not already at the temple or anything else and you're just going straight there because you don't care about temples, maybe you've seen enough of those on your trip to Japan, it is a 19-minute bus ride from the Utsunomiya station, and it is a 22-minute bus ride from the Tobu Utsunomiya station. And it looks pretty fantastic. It is 800 yen for adults and 400 yen for kids to get in. And they do recommend you bring something warm because it can get cold in there. It just looks phenomenal.
Yeah, this place does look really cool. I had it on I want to say a backup list. That's not the right way to phrase it, but like in my head, I was kind of thinking okay, depending on how long the temple takes me, where I'm sitting for time, maybe I kick over to the museum and see what that's about. For me, museums tend to, as cool as they can be, a lot of times I'll kind of almost put like an asterisk on them as like a location I want to visit, just because depending on where you're at, a lot of them don't translate anything into English. So like I went to for instance, I went to the Nintendo Museum in Kyoto when it first opened, and everything was in Japanese. And it's cool. I'm looking at all these old Nintendo artifacts feels like a very strange way to phrase it. But, it's like neat that I'm looking at these things, but I wish I knew what it said. I will say that of this location, I think that not being able to read Japanese is totally fine because you're going through like these huge, essentially caves that have been mined out of this quarry. So it is very cool looking. And like Nathan said, it's filled with like art exhibits and that kind of stuff. So even without being able to read Japanese, you're still going to get something out of it.
Yeah, that's definitely one of, and its proximity to, since we all picked it and so popular, the temple, I feel like it made sense. Even if you're only there for 30 minutes, it's worth the walk over and checking out kind of everything that's there. In addition to that, there is actually a second quarry that is active. They still do mine from it. It's the Kanehon quarry, and it's just another few minutes up the road. It's like an 8-minute walk from where you were at. And it's even cooler in a sense that it's really designed for kids, the way that they've set this up, but it's only open on Saturdays. So that's the kicker, because it is an active quarry. You can only go there for activities on Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. But if you do happen to be there on the weekend, it is active, like I mentioned, but visitors there can experience like a lot more than just, reminds me of the bamboo forest, but not quite as deep. There's a lot of hands-on activities. There's like a little treasure hunt for kids. There you can get stone, the Oyo stone itself, and they have Dremel tools and other things that you can actually carve out and create your own creations with the stone to take home. They have pizza baking, where you do a pizza lesson. You make pizza and you cook it in an Oyo stone oven that's with fire oven, and there's a zip line that you can zip across the quarry above it and everything. So it looks really cool, but it is limited to Saturdays. But either of those or both, depending on your schedule, I think is definitely worth doing since you're already so close.
And for those of you in the audio land, both Justin and I turned and looked at the screen when pizza was mentioned. So that's all you need to know right there.
Well, we'll have to get together because I make Neapolitan style pizza, dough from scratch using Italian flour. So at some point, I'm going to have to make pizza for you.
Thank you, Daddy.
Well,
so, yeah.
I love it. And I know that you have, I will add in, because I saw that you have like a bunch of things for winter, fall, festivals, summer, spring, just different things that are running in that, things like even a Gyoza festival that you found, which, come on, like that sells me, in it, like, and the fact that like and I'm stealing your thunder here, but being able to pay, and it's like the more Japan becomes where I can pay with the Suica card, the better it is. So like when I was looking through those notes ahead of time, I'm like, how awesome, man. How cool is that?
Yeah, so the seasonal stuff was really interesting to me because Japan is very seasonal. I live in Southern California where there is no season. There is one season. It is called hot, and you get like 2 months of not hot, and then it goes back to being hot. So for me, I love seasons and love this idea of seasonal festivals, seasonal activities, and things like that. And so I will go through them a little quicker, just so that we don't take all the time. But cherry blossom for spring, we're going to go start in spring. We've got cherry blossom viewing. It is really well known for cherry blossom viewing. End of March, early April seems to track pretty closely with places like Tokyo in terms of schedule, though you'll have to check forecasts when you're traveling to be sure. And the castle, there's a castle ruins park that is very popular there. It's very close to the Tobu Utsunomiya station, which is different from the JR one. But very close, maybe 10-minute walk. A lot of events happen there, including the Gyoza festival, I believe. And so, yeah, I think there are 800. Oh, yeah, and then, sorry, Hachiman-yama Park. That's the other one. Now, Hachiman-yama Park is actually a really popular park for everybody. Like, people go there all the time. There are, though, for cherry blossom, 800 cherry trees.
Wow.
In that park. And there are also 700 azaleas. And so if you're going to do cherry blossom viewing in March to April, there's great. Azaleas are late May typically. There's also a 300-year-old camphor tree that also flowers in May with yellow and white flowers. So it is a phenomenal place to go. Also, there is an adventure park for kids to climb and do stuff, and a giant suspension bridge for you to go across. They have go-karts in that park and even a little zoo with capybaras and cranes and other things. It kind of has a little of everything, and it really looks like a park that locals go to. And that's the park I put the miso shop that I picked for the miso ramen, which was next to. So definitely those were really cool. The other spring activity, just to wrap up spring here, is the Spring Hill Lupine Festival. It is a flower festival. It goes from April to early May, and it's much farther from the city center. It's going to take you a little bit of time to get there by bus. It's the Kanumashi Kaboku Center, and they have this in fields of rising wisteria that's growing up out of the ground that's spread out and is pretty amazing. But they have classes, wildflower classes, bonsai classes. It's only 500 yen to get in, and then some additional for various activities once you're in there. And it looks pretty fun if you're very much into the flower arrangement, flower culture, blooms that you can see in Japan. It's really a great option for spring. Okay.
Yeah, I like this park, was something that I had kind of as like my secondary activity as well, right? It's just to kind of like walk around it, right? Like Mike and I have talked before, like Mike knows that I like to build a lot of just like leeway into my day to just kind of walk around. And, like with this Hachimaniyama Park, it's got a lot of cool stuff in it, like you were mentioning. And then just, being able to like stumble on stuff. So, it definitely seems like a cool activity. And then right nearby is the Gyoza Street, which is the, sort of I guess like the quote unquote famous street for the city with like the gyoza sign and stuff like that. So I figured that'd be something that I would kind of like kick over to. So yeah, 100% on board with you on this activity.
For like, it's amazing, like all the different things that are there. I'm just going to go ahead and say that for this so far, for our next range of things to eat, that I'm going to go ahead and give the nod to begin with to not me. I do like the place that I picked, but I feel you two gentlemen definitely even took it up and ratcheted up before that. I will say, Justin, when I was looking at yours and I misread it, I thought it was Yakuza style dishes, but that isn't the case. But I was like, oh man, Yakuza style dishes. What is this? Like, like you find a finger in your food. I don't know. But the one place I find is that I'll be sharing for you here, and I'll kind of scroll through. It's all in Japanese. You have your things, but one thing I wanted to just say real quick, and kind of again as we look at our times, the location is a bit hard to find. It's in a what I would consider to be like a subdivision. Like you're not going to be just like walking along and find it. Most likely it's a second floor of a home, and it's run by a couple. The boiled dumplings are what's recommended by the owner. And for those people that actually listen to the recommendation, they leave happy. For those that choose not to listen to the recommendation of what they feel they do well, the ratings kind of range. You know what I mean? For things that are there. And I would just say that, hey, if your chef is recommending something to you and you're in Japan and it's not just some sort of situation where they're trying to run up a bill, so, like a server, so they're like getting some sort of tip off it, listen to them. They're doing it for a reason. And there is a sign that is outside the home for the restaurant for the entrance. But you are going to need Google Translate for the menu. The owners only speak Japanese. But it is one thing I do like about it is the fact that it is not your typical experience. You don't normally get to eat in someone's home, you know, although it has been adjusted to be more of a restaurant style for this. It's closed Sundays and Mondays, which some other locations in that area seem to be closed Sunday and Monday, as well as kind of like a theme. They look to be open for lunch from like 11:30 to 2:30, and then close and then open up again for dinner from 5:30 to 9:30. So again, stick with those boiled dumplings, and I think you will have a enjoyable time. So that hands us over to Wado.
Well, I do want to just say real quick, any restaurant where I get to eat that's in someone's house and run by the couple is an immediate win for me. I will go there above all other places because they are absolutely dedicated to their craft, and you will get the warmest of welcomes and a wonderful meal. So I'm looking forward to going there.
Yeah, 100%. I back that up. Like again, kind of going back to that experience I talked about with the elderly woman. Any place you go that it's just like a singular individual or couple working. It's their livelihood, right? Like it is anywhere else. But typically, it's like they either live above or right next door to the shop, and so you can just feel that warmth kind of radiating from them. Usually, of like them welcoming you into their space, which is usually an extension of their home. So really cool experience. But yeah, Wano Naka. I am taking a 20-minute bus ride from the park to get to this place, as Mike kind of alluded to earlier, and some of you may have picked up on. I'm looking for a vegetarian diet. So this place is not exclusively vegetarian, but it did have some plant-based offerings on the menu. Located inside a traditional style building, it's got like an old Chinese tea house feel to it. With they play jazz music, and you can listen to that while you're savoring some delicious dumplings or enjoying a craft beer or a seasonal sake from Tochigi. It's a little out of the way, like I said, 20 minutes, but after looking at the typical wait times on that street that I had mentioned earlier, I believe it's called Miyagi Machodori, which is the Gyoza street. Um, some of those waits were saying there can be anywhere from like 45 to 90 minutes. So to me, the bus ride is, the math on that still works out. It's been awarded a top 100 restaurant by Tabelog 3 times, and Tabelog is it's not a service I use a whole lot, but my understanding is that the Japanese use it a lot, so it's kind of their version of, oh, am I showing my age if I say Yelp? But again, it's been awarded that top 100 restaurant 3 times by them. It's one of the places most marked as reserved by locals, so it's clearly got something going on that the locals know about. And as Mike was saying, they make yakuzan style dishes, which is a cuisine that blends kampo, which is Chinese herbal medicine, with food. And for a small upcharge, you can substitute any of like their rice-based dishes for fresh sprouted vegetables. So I'm going to keep pressing my luck, as I've been doing so far throughout this day, with seeing whether or not places are open. I'm going to try my limited Japanese to see if I can order vegetable gyoza. And if not, on the menu, they do have eggplant spring rolls, stone grilled gyoza fried rice with woodier mushrooms and Chinese yuba soup, and spicy black mushroom salad. I'm going to get all 3 of those for 1,500 yen, like 1,550 yen. So it's about $10. And Nathan might be aware of this brand because he lives in LA or somewheres around there, I believe. But I'm going to get a Hitachino Yuzu Lager. It's another $4. That is a Japanese craft beer. Can't get that where I live. And so even though it is available some places stateside, to me it is still an exclusively Japanese beer. And just as a little travel hint, because I'm talking about dietary restrictions here, when my Japanese fails me, I carry a small business card sized piece of paper in my wallet that explains my dietary restrictions. It basically just says in Japanese and underneath in English so that I know that I'm showing them the right side, because it's two-sided. It just says that I'm a vegetarian and I don't eat meat. So when my Japanese isn't working for me, or my accent isn't working for me, because, I obviously speak Japanese like an American, the card will always rescue me.
I love it, my friend. And then looking, ahead, this spicy mushrooms, salad, like I'd be down for that, buddy. Like mushroom anything, has my name on it, and I absolutely love it. But you'd have me there, 100%. And I think I could enjoy anything that I saw picture wise for that. That's fabulous fine, my friend.
Yeah. I mean, it looked spicy. It looked good. But commend you. I don't know. Being vegetarian in Japan is not impossible, but it is difficult, definitely. And so I commend you for that. And many times I will have customers with needs like that. I do provide them a card similar to what you have, because it makes it just a lot easier. Yeah. All right. Well, for my dinner option, I hadn't touched gyoza yet. I mean, the miso ramen that I had selected did offer gyoza, but they were miso ramen. You want to go there for what their specialty is. I have not yet touched gyoza, and I thought to myself, there has to be a way to do this. And if a place is known for something, I don't want to have it just once. I don't want to just try one random shop. I want to try all of them. There's not enough time for that. So if I did really, really want to try all the gyoza, I would come to that, as you mentioned, that Gyoza Festival, which is the first weekend of November. It's held over at those castle ruins, and I think it's 200 yen per little plate of gyoza, and you can use your Suica cards, and you can just boom, 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 all in fall and try them all. But if I'm not there that first weekend in November, I created for you my own gyoza crawl. Now, I did avoid that gyoza street, just like Justin did, because you're never going to be able to do that with wait times that were mentioned there and everything else. But I did offer several restaurants, all on the Orion Dori shopping street. This is a covered shopping street that goes quite a few blocks. Lots of shops, lots of restaurants. You could consider this the downtown of Utsunomiya in many senses. And there were a lot of these gyoza places. So we have Jugemu, which has seven different flavors of soup dumplings. Most of these you're going to end up spending between 400 and 600 yen per single plate of dumplings. Go in, try your plate, go to the next place, right? That's what I would be doing. So 7 different flavors of these soup dumplings. Sounds amazing. Sounds delicious. Pretty good. Then we've got this Utsunomiya Gyozakai Kirase. Now, Kirase, I had a question about. I really wasn't sure what that meant. And I found out that it means like a tasting place, like a place that's meant for you to be able to taste multiple things. And so their menus actually provide a lot of variety. But they are known for their shiso pan-fried gyoza. And the actual shiso, I believe, they have a green dough for those ones, I believe. And for the shiso is in there. I'm not sure if there's any photos with what you're looking up, but yeah. And then next one, Min Min, is known for their legendary extra crispy gyoza. This is where they fry the gyoza with some batter around it so that it creates this shelf of crispiness connecting all the gyoza together. And you have some of those. And these are all within 1 block of each other, right? And then you have Koran, which is known for its dark broth spicy soup gyoza, almost like having a spicy miso ramen all over again. And all of these you could stay and eat your full meal at. All of them are going to be between 500, 600 yen per set of gyoza, and you could eat several of those. So expect to rack up a bill, add some beer to that, and you're good to go. So that whole area is shopping. There's a promenade with a river. You can listen to the waters as they're going down the little stream there. And there is some illumination there as well at certain seasons I have seen. It just looks like a great place to spend the evening, try some gyoza, and slowly try to walk off, everything you're eating.
I love it, and I will award the points from that time to Justin, because Nathan cheated. He gave a bunch of places. So Justin, you're back in the running again, my friend.
Back in it. I'm sorry he did that
Hey,
to you.
what's wrong with a self-guided food tour?
Yeah. So I will say I'll take my point, but after I have finished eating at my place and we're about to move on to activity 3 here, knowing now that Nathan has created this gyoza crawl for me, I'm going to do that because my next stop and the third thing that this city is famous for is jazz. So my next stop is Kendaijin Jazz Club. And it's about a 10-minute bus ride from the train station or a 20-minute walk. Supposedly, this is the most well-known jazz club in Utsunomiya. The owners are jazz enthusiasts. There's live performances every Sunday, so you may get to experience an impromptu performance on any other night of the week from local musicians. Fair warning, because there's live music. Expect a cover charge. It's 3,500 yen, which is a little, in my opinion, it's a little on the pricey side. However, at $22 US. However, that charge includes a drink and snacks. So in my mind, that brings that back down to being pretty reasonable, right? I'm getting to listen to live music. You're giving me a drink. Nothing that I could find on like Tabelog or anything like that said what these snacks were. Typical izakaya snacks. And I know this is a jazz club and not an izakaya, but typical izakaya type bar food snacks in in Japan are going to be things like fried tofu, maybe some like edamame, stuff like that. So it's all stuff that I like. I can't necessarily speak to everybody, but I think it's decent quality stuff. So again, that price feels very worth it to me to get to experience some live jazz music in what is effectively the jazz capital of Japan. So yeah. And it looks like Mike has added a note for me that apparently I'm going to be buying the first round. Which, hey, you know what? I would absolutely do that. I'm in Japan. I'm happy. I'm probably a little bit drunk at this point. Chances are I'm buying more than the first round. So, but yeah, I'm going to put down a nice gyoza base beforehand.
Yeah, we were talking about that in the pre-ramble, on the Patreon side of things before you hopped on, Justin. I did let Nathan in, on that. So,
Yeah.
we were waiting with bated breath
You
to
were
see.
hoping I was Ron Burgundy and I was just going to read whatever you put in front of me?
100%, my friend, 100%.
Well, sir, you picked the wrong guy to do that to because I'm not a strong reader.
Well, this has been fabulous so far, my friends. I've had an absolute blast doing this, and we are getting near the end. I don't know if I'm going to split this up into two segments or one, but I've had an absolute blast. Give us a better frame of mind when we do this. If we do this again, you choose to hang out and do this for another spot. Maybe Nathan could pick a spot, Justin can pick a spot, and we can have more than just the not even a week's time to come up with our things. We could maybe have like 5 weeks, 6 weeks, and build some additional things because you are two fantastic people to travel with. My budget, I think there's a lot of budget. Like I said earlier, there's a ton of budget, a lot of business hotels. So this one is actually near the Utsunomiya station. It's out its west exit. I did not see the fancy place. It's still killing me that you two found it and I was like, let's go 40 minutes away. So, but this one is nearby. You can get plans that include a breakfast buffet, and the rooms reviews mentioned can seem a bit dated, but they also mention that the location is clean, it's tidy, and that the bathrooms are actually spacious for Japan. Which anybody who stayed in a business hotel, some business hotels in Japan know, you're not given a obscene amount of space. One thing I liked about this location is that all of the rooms are non-smoking, which is a huge plus. Like for me, there's a smoking room on the lobby floor, so that you can do that. There's also a Nihon Shoya restaurant on the same floor and a daily Yamazaki Utsunomiya convenience store very close to that location. It's not your typical 7-Eleven or things you'd normally find, but that is nearby. It's conveniently located, just a 5-minute walk from the station. And apparently, there's a Gyoza statue that is also nearby this location that you can go to. And darn it, if I'm going to get my picture taken with anything on this trip, besides me trying to get in and out of my hammock tent in that bamboo forest, it's going to be me with the Gyoza statue. So if you hit up a local izakaya that's also nearby, one thing I'd like to say, and I think Justin might have mentioned it before, or Nathan, don't forget to try some of the local Tochigi sake when you are out hitting those izakayas that are nearby. Reviews mention that breakfast is expensive in the pricing and things that you might have. But my friends, this breakfast is not for me, but it is totally 100% worth the price. And dare I say, might even be a savings when you hear what you get. Because those that get it rave about it. It is, while it's traditional, you also get izakaya style sashimi. That is tuna, bonito, squid, yellowtail, tempura, clam miso soup, etc. They even have some of Tochigi, famous gyoza. Sorry. And they even have yuba, which is tofu skin, vinegared rice, and even a seafood bowl for breakfast. So I'm saying, if you like fish, you're going to leave extremely satisfied with the add-on price for this. Reviews mention it feels like having a breakfast at an izakaya. And for those of you that sounds wonderful, it's going to be nothing short of bliss for you. The parking is in the hotel's parking garage. But the cool thing about this is because one of my, like as Justin said, we want to go camping, as both of us do, like when we go to Japan. I also want to rent an RV. And I would love to have just like that one of those RV camper vans and just drive around to different places. The nice thing about this parking garage is that it has, even though it's a parking garage, it's a taller parking garage. So even if you have like a larger SUV or things that are there, you should have no issues parking there. That being said, and I think this goes for all of us that are in this area around the station, is that the area is by very busy hub of a train station. So if you're showing up around 4:30, that also means when people are getting off of work, right? So that whole area is going to be busier. You're going to have people looking to check into hotels. So if I'm showing up to this parking garage at 4:30 p.m., expect to be waiting, a bit in line to get in. And that's okay. I mean, it's all part of the vacation experience. But that Utsunomiya station is not going to help things. Okay. Navigating around that whole area is going to be even a bit more challenging. But rooms really range in price from like $60 a night to 120. It just really, what add-ons do you choose? The buffet? Do you choose the other things you can add on? Do you choose to go for the larger beds in the larger rooms? And I have to tell you right now, gentlemen, I would have no qualms at like that around 100 and something dollars a night to do some of the larger rooms because they actually look larger and the beds look larger. And I don't know about you two, but whenever you can find something that's reasonably priced that gives you all of that on a trip, especially when you're there for a few weeks, my friends, that is worth it. That's like going for a massage after a long day walking. That's hitting a jazz bar that I'm jealous that Justin found that looks amazing at night. The mental things that can do for you when you're running, just to get out, and about, listen to some great music, have a different experience. All these things add up and can really impact your vacation. And that leads us to Justin and his, budget hotel. And I must tell you, Justin, you get a point already for this because
I know why.
For the McDonald's, clearly.
Yes,
I'm
the
above a
McDonald's.
Clearly
Yeah.
there in the
Come
photo.
on, like right there, I was like, ding, ding, ding. I don't need to listen to what Nathan's even gonna share
Wow.
here.
I mean,
He's already won.
Fun fact, I've picked McDonald's a total of 3 times in Japan of all of my trips.
You gotta.
I know you
So,
love me a little less, but
no. So we've lost the Starbucks Japan, and now that just cost us the McDonald's Japan. Gosh darn, gentlemen, what are you doing to me here? What are you doing
Well,
to
here
me?
I'll try to reel us back in. Have you seen that? It might only be in China, so this is now I'm just cheating. But have you seen that there's a Hello Kitty mahjong set that McDonald's is doing?
I did not.
Yeah.
Hello
I think
Kitty. That's very niche.
Yeah.
Right
Oh yeah.
there.
Yeah. Hello Kitty mahjong. Like there's a.
Yeah.
That's a Venn diagram that's got to be pretty small.
Yeah.
Anybody that plays Yakuza, I wish I was better at that game because like that is one part of the Yakuza experience. And I must say it's coming out for Switch 2, that remake of Yakuza 3. Looks fantastic. And I can't wait for my art show to be done so I can play that game, gentlemen. But no, this budget, what Justin, next time I go to book hotels, I need you to choose for me because you have picked a place, even though it looks to be budget, that once again, in our budget things of things, swanky. Nathan, I think he went all out because you were going to be on the show. This is like, he got the tux out, he showered, he got his hairs cut. Like, I mean, he went all out for you, my friend. He doesn't do this for just me. I mean,
Yeah,
this is.
I will tell you that one time in my life, once and only once, I have been described as charming. So I can dial it in once every 2 decades or so. So yeah, this place is called The Knot. It is once again just like a 2 to 3 minute walk from Utsunomiya Station. I swear that I looked beyond just the station, and I just happened to find that like for me, the two places that were the best, either in terms of like, wow, this place is swank, or this place is cheap, but also pretty darn nice. Both just happen to be right next to the station. So The Knot is a lifestyle hotel. Nathan, as a travel agent extraordinaire, can probably tell you more about what that means than I can, right? But if you've ever been at like a boutique hotel, they tend to be smaller rooms, but they're still kind of nice and they kind of have like a trendy feel to them. And they sort of like the hotels in general tend to focus on like kind of a trendy visual aesthetic, right? Maybe it's like pop art, or maybe it's jazz records all over the wall or something like that, right? Like they kind of find like a theme and they roll with it. I don't know what the theme of this one is. I didn't in looking at it, I didn't like key in on one real hard, but it is a very nice, clean looking hotel. It, I would say, runs on par with, some of the like business executive level hotels that you would stay at in the US in terms of the level of polish to the hotel with that little bit of a boutique twist to it. It just opened on January 23rd of 2026, so it is brand new.
Wow.
On the first floor, you'll find Lazuli Place, which is an all-day restaurant that they have open from morning to night, and Lazuli Bakery, which is a bakery and cafe that offers fresh baked bread, pastries, and donuts. Like I said, the rooms are small, but I don't think it's unreasonably so. They're still big enough for like a double-sized bed and a small desk with a fridge tucked underneath of it. The beds are Western style, so you're not on the floor. There's a little bit of a walkway. The sinks are located actually outside of the bathroom, so if you're traveling with somebody else, somebody could be like showering or whatever, and you could still be getting ready in the morning. And all of this clocks in for like $40 to $45 a night, depending on whether or not you're booking directly or through a booking site. So, yeah, I think that's a super reasonable price. You're not staying anywhere in the U.S. that cheap unless it comes with a knife wound.
That's true. And then look at this. You got two vending machines out your door. You have a barber shop right there. I mean, you could get your hairs cut, gentlemen, on this one. I
kind of
absolutely
need that right now.
And as you said up front, the McDonald's, which depending on to Nathan's point, only having been there 3 times, and me being the coffee snob that I am, like I will say, McDonald's, it can be kind of interesting to go in Japan because they offer seasonal menus, and so there's things there that you wouldn't see in the US, and it's right outside your hotel. Pop in, just see what there is. Like you don't even have to order anything. It's just kind of fun to see like, oh, they have a melon flavored shake. Oh, they have a chestnut moon pie. So yeah, it's kind of fun.
I mean, I had it for the teriyaki and egg burger when that came out initially, which is still there, I believe, and it was phenomenally delicious.
Go-to breakfast in Japan, and for those that have listened to the show for a while know this, it is the McDonald's breakfast because they have that 3-sausage patty with cheese egg McMuffin with your hash brown. My gosh, so good. Every single time I do it, it makes me feel good about myself. I can't have it enough while I'm there. It's good for you. Don't listen to
this. It's in Japan. It is therefore healthier.
30,000 steps that I do that day help make it so.
Yeah. 3 sausages in the US is, oh my God, you're fat. 3 sausages in Japan is, oh my God, they're living in the future.
So true. So true. That's another point to Justin there. Justin, wait, Nathan, you're going to have to pull it back in. We're almost out of time, my friend.
I'll find a way. Don't worry.
I'm giving Nathan all my points because he's adopting me and taking me to Japan.
Yeah. Oh, man. So for my selection for a budget hotel is a little bit... It is definitely a budget hotel, but you could actually treat it not like a budget hotel as well, depending on how high you want to scale here. And it has some swank to it, funny enough. So this hotel is located, this is the Utsunomiya Tobu Hotel Grand. It is located next to the Tobu Utsunomiya station, which if you arrived via the JR line, at the JR Utsunomiya station where the Kandio is and a lot of these places that we've talked about, the Richmond that just got mentioned, it's only an 8 to 12 minute bus ride from there to this area. And this is probably the place I would end up choosing to stay. Not necessarily because it's, as good as the Kandio or something like that, because it's not, but because it's where I put all my activities. The park is close, the Gyoza streets are close, the castle. There's just a lot of utility for where it was located. And yeah, so this hotel, and obviously this is going to depend on season, it can actually be as low as $40 a night, $50 if you're including breakfast. And so it could be quite cheap. And this is for a single twin room, so it will go up a little bit when you start to do double twin rooms and things like that. But you can go all the way to get a suite for $192 a night, right? So and that suite can hold 4 people for that 192 a night. So it really is a budget hotel when you put it into that perspective. Now it has 4 restaurants. So if you've noticed from what you're seeing here, the rooms are actually quite nice. You've got a lot of chandelier in the lobby and curtains. This is what we would call like what I would say is late Showa, which Showa goes up to like the 1990, right? 1989 was like the end of the Showa era. This hotel was built in 1991. And so it has a lot of that aesthetic that they've maintained over the years. So it might feel a little dated, but reviews say that it's very clean, the food is good, and you have, 4 restaurants to choose from. Steak, Japanese restaurant, things like that. And all rooms are non-smoking, which, as we've mentioned here, is always a plus because you can't accidentally book, a smoking room.
Yeah, I would, I'll agree with what Nathan is saying about, or kind of foot stomp on what Nathan is saying about the non-smoking rooms. I've had an experience where I stayed in kind of a similar place, late Showa era hotel, very nice, but you could tell like it was very nice from like a different era, still very well maintained and everything. But, it came from a time when, people smoked a lot more, right? And so they didn't necessarily have non-smoking rooms. And as somebody who's a non-smoker and is also a bit of a sissy, I could just tell. I could tell that there was smoke permeated in the room. And even though the room was clean and I didn't feel as though it were dirty or anything like that, yeah, I could feel like sort of the stickiness in the carpet and stuff like that. And I don't regret that I stayed there, but if I had it to do over, I would definitely bear in mind like, hey, it's something to consider if you're
Yeah.
sensitive to smoke.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we have our hotels down. We it's some honorable mentions, and we'll kind of clip through these. This is definitely, now that we have talked through this and you're listening to this, this is a two-parter. So we've had fun, and I can't thank you two gentlemen enough. I did not expect for us to spend this much time together, but I am very thankful that you have done so. So to round us off for the night, we have the Inari Family Yakitori restaurant. This is not a restaurant that is sit down. Instead, it is a takeout yakitori restaurant. And my friends, looking at this place, this is a hidden gem. And a lot of it because like it's not like for a lot of people mention that it's not necessarily found within those like review sites, right? And the yakitori has, chicken breast, chicken skin, 120 yen. 120 yen per skewer. That is amazing. The sauce that they have is generally sold and made day of. And if you want, and I heard a lot of reviews mention that the salt yakitori is like chef's kiss, but you have to order it the day before. So like if you're going to this place and you order something, you can say, "Hey, I'd like to pick this up the following day." My friends, this would end up being like a snack of mine every night. Like I'd give the convenience stores a break and just eat this because, it looks fantastic. They're every day, and it's just one of those things like this is going to be better than what you'd get out of a, chain, definitely. And a lot of people even say these are people that are coming from Tokyo, right? To come out here for an hour to do the different events and things. And they're like, you won't find a place of this quality even in Tokyo. So like that speaks volumes, to be there. It's open from 2 p.m. till 7 each day, except for Sundays and Mondays. And pricing is fantastic. So grab your Google Translate, go early, go often, and enjoy yourself. This looks fantastic.
Wow. I mean, 20 yen a skewer. First of all, I would eat skune all day, all night, 6 ways to Sunday. It's my favorite negima, the thigh and the green onion. Like, there's so much that I love about yakitori. It's one of my favorite dishes. And you don't see carryout too often in Japan. It's really not part of the culture. So this is fascinating to me and looks amazing. So great pick. I don't know why it's an honorable mention. No, it's only because you can't sit down and eat there for a meal.
And that I was hoping to like jury rig this portion of it because I knew I was going to get significantly less points. So I was like, man, I'm coming at the end and I'm
I
going to
don't know.
steal
This
this
looks
one.
like points for you in my book.
He's that final stretch horse. All right, I see what's going on. Well, so batting a little bit of cleanup, I forgot to mention that there's a like right near the Oya temple is like a couple of shops that sell like wares that are made out of that Oya stone. So, I would be hitting those up for sure after I was done with the Oya temple, trying to figure out how exactly I'm going to get a couple giant rocks onto an airplane and into my bags home. Whether it be bowls or maybe like some sort of rock or something for my bonsai collection at home. And then my honorable mention is a place called Levon Helm, which is a vegan restaurant with gyoza on the menu, right? So I wanted to make sure that I hit up a place that you can still enjoy it, you can still get what the town is famous for, even if you are on a plant-based diet. So this place is located pretty much right next to that park we were talking about earlier. So, it's right there in the heart of things. You're not going to have to go super far out of your way for it, which is nice. Like I said, you're going to be able to get that food item that the town is famous for without having to feel like you didn't get it because your dietary restrictions are a little different.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great pick, especially with the dietary, and still get to have some gyoza. And I don't know why you're talking about stone and then talking about gyoza. That gyoza statue that's outside of JR Utsunomiya that Michael you talked about, it is made of the Oya stone, and it is a goddess wrapped in gyoza. And that
Yeah,
is, it
it's got
almost looks like, if you were to pull it up, it almost looks like it would be like a mascot, a guy that has to stand on the corner with a sign. Like it absolutely has a very cheesy look to it, but it's fantastic looking.
it's the famous work of art, like Aphrodite emerging from like the clamshell, right? It looks like that, but Aphrodite is wrapped in a gyoza.
I've always wondered what my tattoo was gonna be, you know? I found it, gentlemen. I
You
found
just
it.
described it.
But it'd just be a blob on your arm or leg. What is this? Well, let me tell you about Utsunomiya, the gyoza capital of the
This
world.
of the world.
Of the world. All right.
Bring us home, my friend,
Yes,
with
yes.
Jam's
I'll bring
Bar.
you home with Jam's Bar. This is also right in the middle of that Odori street where my gyoza crawl is. And it is a tiny but rockin' jazz bar in the heart of that shopping street. And it's well loved by locals. And it features live jazz every Friday night. And on other days, I saw some Saturday events and things like that. Their Instagram is the way to go to know their schedule and know what's going on over there. There is a 1,500 yen cover charge for those Friday nights. I can't speak for the Saturdays or anything else. And it is the tiniest of places. It is a hallway where the band sits up at the end of the hallway, and there is just enough bar for a few people to sit at. It is not a large place, but it looks phenomenal. And as someone who has former jazz drumming experience in my life, and this being a jazz play, I'm really excited to come try out these jazz bars, everything that's I've seen here. So yeah, it looks great.
Gentlemen, I consider myself very lucky to know both of you. I consider myself blessed to have been able to spend the night geeking out Japan with you. You both get all the points. Justin, I may give you a lot of hard time, but as Nathan was saying, I consider both of you lucky, to have as friends and can't wait for us to share some vegan, vegetarian, whatever it is, together, in the future, because I know it will happen. And it's going to be an amazing time had by the three of us. And we add David and Maurice to this, and we could have, five fantastic people that could have an amazing time together. So thank you so incredibly much for setting aside as much time as you have and just putting up with me. So thank you.
Yeah,
Uh,
thanks for having us.
Yeah, this was great. I love. I'm happy to come on anytime and just talk about Japan.
And this was way better and went, with the exception of our time, my friends, went way better than I thought it even would have gone. This was a blast. This is something I would love to listen to. So I know we've done a great job together. But looks like it's ready for all of us. Call it a night. Before we begin our next adventure, as we continue our discussion and exploration of Japan. So, on behalf of Lost Without Japan and the entire crew, I'd like to thank you all for joining us on this trip. Stay well, my friends.